Good morning, Lufkin Central and Online Worship Community. Jason Hollinger, the campus and community minister here. And today we're going to talk about numbers. Numbers, not the book of numbers, but numbers that can be devastating. We are in the midst of a study through a book titled Outlive Your Life, one done by Max Lucado. He says this: numbers are devastating. Disease, disaster, death, so many people lost to preventable diseases or abandoned in the aftermath of AIDS. Earthquakes level shanty towns. Tsunamis wash away island nations. War leaves behind another wake of refugees. These statistics convict us as we see or hear of so many hurt and hungry, so many with so little. What can be done in the face of it all? Perhaps the greatest tragedy is when these problems remain distant. Only numbers, not names, just facts, not faces. But when we take a good look, long look, into their eyes, instead of looking away, we move past the stats and stories and become a part of the solution. The message for Galatians 6:4 reads this way: make a careful exploration of who you are and the work you have been given, and then sink yourself into that. What's your language when it comes to serving others? Whether you communicate best with children, teenagers, drug addicts, executives, or the elderly, Romans 12:6 says God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. God designed you this way for a reason. You might not get inspired and sponsor a child. You may dig wells. You could fund missionaries, staff hospitals, build schools, or launch churches. Maybe you befriend someone to whom you would not typically reach out. For at least one child, one family, one village, and maybe even an entire people group, you might be able to make a small but significant difference. As we think about what's been given to us, that the idea, the fact that God has given us different gifts for doing certain things and doing them well. We look at this idea that God designed us for a reason, that God gave us these gifts, that God blessed us this way for a reason, so that we can, we can bless others, so that we can help others, so that we can grow our faith, our maturity, our understanding about who God is. Sometimes we think that we've got to do just this massive undertaking and that all these things that we have to do, but ultimately sometimes it just comes down to realizing what that small difference can make in just one life. That when you look into the eyes of the hurting, of the sick, of the poor, of the broken, and you look at them not judging, whatever, but not determining what their what their punishment may be, what they may face due to their actions, or what they should face due to their actions. When we look at them as a child of God that's lost their way, as a child of God that has experienced things sometimes beyond their own doing, beyond their own control, that we look and not determined that unclean. We look at them and not say, well, they should do this because then that would help them with this, or why don't they? No. Instead, we look and we see a life that deserves so much more. A life that could have so much more. A life that should not be experiencing hate. A life that should not be experiencing just the weight of this world without the strength that you have as a child of God, that you have as a Christian. You see, it's up to us to make that decision, to help them. Last night we began a new series titled Restore, and it's the first lesson last night was making home feel like home again. And Don McLaughlin, who is teaching this series, ultimately he says there were things that we didn't make happen. We didn't make COVID-19 happen, but how we respond to it matters. How we respond to those hurting matters. How we respond, in the midst of what they're going through matters. So many who have just looked down upon them. Instead of giving them a handout, give them a hand up. Show them who Jesus is. Show them what Jesus has done through you and what Jesus desires to do through you for them. This Sunday I'll be with a group in Trinidad, Colorado, with a group of homeless, with a group of, life didn't turn out the way that we thought it would. Things beyond our control happened, and this is where we are. All of us, when in that moment, no matter what the moment is, we're left with a choice. What we do next matters. Whether we caused it or not, what we do next matters. Whether we think those that we see, those that we come across, caused it or not, what we do for them next matters. So my challenge is a question to you today. What will you do next? How will you respond? I can't wait to hear and see how it goes. Have a great day. God bless.